Hey, what's up, guys? Coach Mac, Play Fast Football. Make sure you check out some of our sponsors. GameStrat sideline replay system that we use. In the description box below, there's going to be a link that takes you directly to GameStrat's website. If you're looking for a highly reliable, highly affordable sideline replay system, great customer service, customer support, customer friendly, make sure you check out GameStrat. Just Play Football, digital software, taking your program to the next level. Only diagram tool that I use to draw plays up. If I have to do any webinars or any coaching clinics, it is the only play drawing diagram tool or play drawing tool software that I will use, so check out Just Play. DifferenceUSA, the ultimate striking machine. We have one in our weight room. Get thousands of reps without needing a partner. Working on striking, elbows in, thumbs up, coming out of your stance, different positions, different techniques, different drills. Work on perfecting your strike. Different tension chords, so as kids develop and get older or stronger, you can change the tension in the pad that levs in, that kind of leverages in, so you have to strike it and deliver a blow that leverages it in towards your squat rack that we have it hooked on. So make sure you check out DifferenceUSA. Defensive Coordinator 1, in-game app that allows you, allows you to make critical in-game adjustments based on live actual in-game data. You have templates and things that you put in, tendencies, scouting reports, things that are already built into the app, and then based on what's actually happening during the game live with play calls and results and their calls based compared to your calls, you can actually make valuable in-game adjustments without having to guess, because you know exactly the adjustments you're making based on the data that is actually happening live. All right, Dome Hats, which is our headwear company, that our main sponsor, hats that I use here at school. Hats are Play Fast Football hats, one of our major sponsors at the clinic that we just did 2 weeks ago. So Dome Hats has a great custom online hat builder that you can design your own hat, any hat you want, multiple hat styles, change the colors of the different panels, put your logo on the front, put words on the side or words on the back. Great company, run by two former Florida Gator football players. They understand our business. They know what we go through. All right, so make sure you check out Dome Hats. Every hat has a story. Let Dome help you tell yours. All right, I'm going to do a video today on managing practices. I get a comments all the time, a message all the time. Coach, what do your practices look like? Coach, what does your practice plan look like? And the one thing I always respond to people is, before you ask people about their practices, make sure you obviously, know your situation first. You know how many kids you have, how many coaches you have. Do you have varsity and JV together? Do you have a freshman team with it as well? You got to know your team, how many kids are on the team, how many coaches you have, and your situation. And then I think you need to go out and find people in similar situations before you just talk to people about their practice plans. So as a head coach or a coordinator or a young coach, you can listen to talks about practice plans all the time. It's not going to hurt you. It's only going to help you. You can go to college practices and see how they practice. You can go to Glazier and Nike clinics or other clinics around the country and listen to people talk about practice plan and organization. It is not going to hurt you one bit. If you want your practices to be effective, find a school that is in a similar situation to you and practice that way. So, for us, I always explain to people, we practice the way we practice because of the setup we have, the amount of coaches we have, and the amount of kids we have. So for me, at my high school, all right, I have myself and 7 other paid coaches, okay? Anything after that is either volunteers, former players, but as far as on the staff, I have myself and 7 paid assistants, and those spots have to coach varsity and JV. We don't have a freshman team here, but we have a 9th and 10th grade JV, 11th and 12th grade varsity. Those 8 spots, including me, have to coach JV and varsity football. We do not split our staff up. All right, so what ends up happening is I have myself as the head coach. All right, I'm calling the defense and I'm coaching the safeties for argument's sake. Okay? If I have an offensive coordinator and they're doing the quarterbacks, and then I have an O-line coach, I have a running backs coach, I have a wide receiver coach, a D-line coach, a linebacker coach, and a corners coach. So that makes up, the 8 guys that I'm going to have on staff. Okay, that makes up the 8 guys that I'm going to have on my staff. A lot of times for me, if I have another supplement left over, all right, or if I have another supplement to use, that last supplement for me will be somebody that is either somebody that helps me with equipment stuff, field stuff, travel stuff, taking things back and forth to games, sideline replay stuff. So if I have an extra supplement, all right, I use it for kind of a football operations guy, so to speak. So the way I divide, all right, my 8 coaches up is just like this. So on offense, you're going to have quarterbacks, O-line, running backs, receivers, and on defense, you're going to have safeties, D-line, linebackers, corners. All right, we're a 3-3-5 team. Even when we were a 4-2-5 team, safeties and corners need to be coached by different people. You need somebody that coaches backers. You need somebody that coaches D-line. So we need 4 individual defensive coaches, all right? And then we need 4 offensive coaches. If we ever get short, sometimes based on scenarios, you have to put quarterbacks and running backs together. But argument's sake, got 4 on each side. You got your 8 individual coaches. So for us, what ends up happening is we have 2 different practices usually going on. We've got a varsity practice going on, and then we've got a JV practice going on. So if you're a team that practices everybody together, or you know your varsity practices and you have your JV practices and you have 2 different staffs, so your varsity has every position coach up there and you can do offense and defense at the same time, with varsity practicing, if you have the field space, with varsity practicing offense and defense, and then coming together when they need to come together and servicing each other, or you know, being offense being a scout for offense and defense being a scout for defense. Probably depends on how big your school is, how many coaches you have, how many kids you have, what kind of field space do you have. We don't have that scenario here. So we have a varsity practice going on, a JV practice going on. So for argument's sake, varsity was going to be focused on an offensive practice, that means, on a defensive practice, I'm sorry, that means JV is going to focus on some type of offensive practice. And our practices will be split on ends of the field, just like this is split here. So my varsity's up on one end of the field, my JV's down on the other end of the field. Varsity's working from the 50 down after we do Indy. Their team stuff, they're working from the 50 down doing defense, and JV's working from the 50 down the other way doing offensive stuff. Okay, and then at some point we'll probably come together and we'll work on special teams. All right, and now while we do special teams, we'll probably do it together, because I may have different coaches that are responsible for certain special teams like kickoff or punt, and you know, whoever the JV offensive coach that day, all right, might be the guy that's responsible for kick return if we're doing it or whatever. So we usually do special teams together, so I have all my coaches there. Usually my line coach or my D-line coach, they'll take linemen that aren't involved in special teams and they'll steal some more Indy time or drill time there. And then the rest of my skill position coaches are involved in a special team somehow, either with the scout group or coaching it. However you do it, you feel free to break it up however you want to break it up. But special teams will go together, and I will use my JV sometimes as a scout look during special teams. We won't go live all that often. We will do it every once in a while. We try not to go fully live when we're using JV as a scout. But a lot of times what it lets us do is, like if we're doing kickoff or kick return and I use the JV as a scout look, it allows me to use the 11 guys, work on my depth chart, make sure they're there, get a coach making sure they're responsible for whoever the kick return team is. So if I'm doing varsity kickoff, and let's just say for whatever reason my corners coach is the kickoff guy, and let's just say my receiver coach is the kick return guy. If it's varsity kickoff and JV is the scout team, that means that my varsity wide receiver coach, that's the kick return team, he'll take that JV kick return scout team. I need him to have his depth chart. I need him to make sure everybody's there. I need him to know that if he has to replace guys, he has to replace them. And then even if we have to put them in a return that isn't a return that we run, at least I know I've got 11 JV players with guys that might have to field the ball, guys that got to be on the front line, guys that got to worry about onside. I'm stealing an extra rep for that JV kick return team, using them as a scout group. If I had to flip it and it was varsity kick return versus JV, I'll go JV kickoff. The only thing I may do is use a varsity kicker if I need kicks to be deeper than my JV kicker can kick. If my JV kicker is good enough to do all the kicking, then I'll let him kick. But what ends up happening is we get a chance to steal some reps by using the JV on the other side. So a lot of times we'll use the JV together. So we'll come all together as a team for specials or special teams. But that's about the only time we're together. And then after that, the only other time we may be together is during some Indy periods. Sometimes during the year, based on either coaching scenarios or what's going on, I might have everybody together doing Indy. So all the receivers in the program might be together doing Indy. But most of the time we're separate. So when Indy comes, JV is offensive Indy, varsity's defensive Indy, whatever it may be. And then what we'll end up doing is after that, we'll flip the script for about 20 minutes. And now, all right, varsity for the last 20 minutes, all right, will now be on offense. So the coaches flip and JV will go. And JV will go to defense. So now the coaches have to flip, and we'll finish. Since we have some kids that play both ways, and since our coaching staff is set up the way it is, we like to do this at the end so that if varsity was a defensive focus, JV was offense, special teams together, we'll flip the script so that we coach a little bit of the varsity on offense and the JV on defense, all right, so that we don't totally go a complete day without doing one side of the ball or the other, so our kids kind of keep it fresh in their mind. So now we've got, the coaches got to know the practice plan. They got to know what scripts they need. So if they, if JV they got JV offense, and then later on they're going to have varsity offense. If we've got two different scripts for periods, a team period, or the JV might have an inside script and a skill script and a team script, and maybe varsity just has a team script or whatever it may be. Now you got to make sure you got both scripts. You got to make sure you know where you are in the practice plan, because the practices are going to flip. So for us at our school, when guys ask me how we practice or ask me what my practice plans look like, they really don't look like a lot of other places because they're conducive to what we need and how we have to do it. All right, so I build my practice plan, even the template we use. I don't use the same template that everybody uses that's got 5-minute periods blocked out. I need to start using Google Sheets more and Google Docs more so I can share things among coaches and they can make changes. So that's something I need to get into, but technologically I'm not really great at all that stuff. So my practice plan just kind of gets listed. It gets listed straight down a Word document with times that says, hey, 2:15 we flex, 2:25 varsity offensive Indy, JV defensive Indy, 2:40 we go to varsity offensive inside, JV defense tackling circuits, whatever it is. And it just has times that guys understand. 2:25, all right, the next one is 2:40, the next one is 2:45. So we're taking those 5-minute periods and kind of combine them. We don't have a timer. We don't have a digital countdown clock. We don't have any of that stuff. If I'm fortunate enough to have managers with me or whatever, I may have a girl that is on the clock with an air horn. But a lot of the times it's just me blowing the whistle when it's time to go from one period to the next. So I tell people all the time, when you're studying practice plans, make sure you understand your school, your facilities, your fields, your number of coaches, your number of players, your number of managers, the equipment that you have, before you go study somebody else's practice plan. Because if you talk to somebody about a practice plan that you can't implement at your school, it's not wasted knowledge. You're still a better coach for learning and developing and growing, all right, in trying to move forward in your career. But that practice plan may not help you at your place. And the worst thing you can ever do, in my opinion, don't use a practice plan that you get from somebody if it's not conducive to your program just because somebody else that has a lot of success uses it. If you can't use it based on your setup, okay, don't use it no matter how great it works for somebody else. Thank them for their time and thank them for sharing your information, but if you can't use it, it's a waste of time to implement practice plans that you feasibly cannot get done. Learned that the hard way about 20 years ago, 22 years ago when I first became a head coach. Went out and watched colleges practice. I played as a college football player. I coached small college football. I knew what all the practice plans are supposed to look like. Tried to put them together for a high school team. Just didn't work for us. We didn't have the facilities, didn't have the right coaches, didn't have enough players. I learned real quickly 20 years ago that your practices had better be set up for the place that you're at. All right, so understand where you're at, understand all the things that go into practice plans, and just understand that practice plans are living, breathing documents. They don't have to be set in stone. You don't have to pull them out and make sure that they're the same as this school or the same as Clemson or the same as LSU or the same as, the Jaguars or the Eagles or the Cowboys. Your practice plan has just got to be something that makes sure that every coach knows when and where they're supposed to be. And the times are listed and the segments are listed, and you're getting out of the day what you need to get out of the day based upon those time periods. That's it. It's just a matter of organizing your practice so that every coach knows where they need to be. They know how much time they have in each drill. That's really all the practice plan is. So it doesn't have to be a set document. It doesn't have to be on a certain or in a certain format. It can be whatever you want it to be. Make sure you look at your coaches, your teams, your fields, your managers. take all that information, put it together, and say, hey, what's best for me? All right, I hope this helps you guys. I know I've done a video or two here or there about practice stuff. I get guys asking all the time about how do you practice if you have two-way players? How do you guys practice at your place? Guys ask me all the time, can I come by and watch you guys practice? My practice is open to come by and watch for anybody. You know, obviously guys we don't play, but especially out-of-state visitors or anybody that wants to come down that are PlayFast followers. But I tell guys all the time, I don't know if our practice is really one that you may want to come watch and learn from, because I don't do things the way a lot of other people do them, just based on our coaching staff and our facilities and our teams and our amount of players and all that. So make sure you understand, practice plan is everything you need it to be at your school. Doesn't have to be anything else. Get the job done however you need to get it done. All right, also guys, make sure you check out Max One. All right, it's an app that you can use on your phone, streamline everything for a head coach, communication, organization, messaging. All right, if you had an incident like we had the other night, we had a bunch of heavy storms roll through, ripped our baseball net out of the back. They had a practice that had to be canceled, and then this week they start playing games, and they had some home games that had to go to away games. Perfect type of app to have to make sure that you can message your whole team and say, hey guys, next Tuesday is at this place, not home, because of what happened. Hey guys, weather blew down a pole and a net. Can't get it fixed today. We're not going to be able to practice on the field. Practice is moved, or practice is delayed, moved inside, or moved to another field, or practice is canceled. Little things like that, along with your schedule and along with communicating with your team and workouts, streamlining everything into a system of organization for a head coach that makes it a lot simpler. So make sure you check out at Max One. Click the subscribe button, turn the notifications on, turn that bell on so you know every time we do a video. When we do them live like this during my planning period, now you know that we do them live with no editing. Make sure you turn the notifications on. Thumbs up, thumbs down to like or dislike videos so we know what you want. All right, and send messages. I respond to every message that comes through that I can see on my end, so always please send messages. Over 18,000 subscribers now. Thanks so much. I appreciate everything you guys do. Thanks for what you've done for PlayFast Football. You won't play well until you play fast. I'll catch you guys next time.